A lot of black immigrants are really shocked at what happened to Patrick Lyoya. And we want to go a little deeper into this particular story because a lot of this have them scared because they really believed a lot of lies about America. And many of us would say, now, have you not seen the protests that we are protesting? Have you not seen the police, killings of black people? Have you not seen anything like that? But yet they come into America and a lot of them have made a grave mistake. The grave mistake that a lot of them have made is to separate themselves from black Americans. It is very asinine to separate yourself away from black Americans because we have been living in this country for hundreds of years. We know the white supremacists. A lot of that you see also is because, let's call it what it is, a lot of African brothers and sisters believe in that white Jesus. And anyone related to white Jesus in their mind is white people. They believe anything they tell them, especially when we have heard many, many times that black immigrants say they've been told at the immigration place to stay away from black Americans. But if they would have not listened to these folks at the immigration and actually made the right decision, then they would be more protected in America and they would be more on code. So let's go ahead and get into this. So they said that when the Lyoya family arrived in the U.S. in 2014, they say after facing years of war and persecution in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, they said the refugees thought they had finally made it. So they were living in Malawi. Okay, they was in the continent when they won asylum to live in the U.S., part of a growing number of refugees from the Congo and Michigan. They said, and I quote, "They told us in America, there's peace, there's safety. You're not going to see killing anymore. That was basically a safe haven." Dorcas Loyola said in the Congolese during an interview with the Detroit Free Press. Now, listen to what this man said. This is crazy. Let me repeat this again. He said, they told us. Who is they? Who is they? I want to know who they is. Told us that in America there is peace. Huh? There's not one day of peace in America. Every day somebody getting shot and killed, maimed, somebody getting abducted. Like, what I mean, peace? There's no peace in this land. There was peace. Listen, I understand that certain pockets of the African continent got problems. And I always told y'all, if you wanted to find out where the problem's at and look deep into it, you go find the white supremacists in it. That's why the problems are there. But not every country in the African continent got a problem. African Tigers just went to the Congo, matter of fact, and she showed all the nice cities and how, really, beautiful it was in the Congo. So not every place, even in the Congo, is like that. Now, I heard in areas where the mines are at, that's when all of the drama is going off at, and he say the war and all of that, and it's because of the white supremacists. And he said that they told him you're not going to see killing anymore. I mean, this is crazy. This is so crazy. But it said this Monday, talking about his firstborn son, Patrick, was, of course, he was shot in the back of the head. It came out for sure. Incident that outraged civil rights advocates and led to protests in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now, Loyoya's death, they said, was like others, is it can rattle a sense of security for black immigrants or refugees who come to the U.S. to escape violence only to find themselves vulnerable to the same brutality and racism black Americans encounter from police, as well as the additional specter of federal immigration authorities. Now, see, this is the problem, even with that. The danger, and like I said, once again, the mistake they made is to say that I'm different. I'm not like them black Americans. So I don't have to befriend them. I'm going to go to Michigan and go find other Congolese people like me who never lived in this land, who don't know the white supremacists like that. Understand? Now, this woman here by the name of Nana Gayemfi, she said it's shocking to black immigrants who have this vision of the United States as the land of the free and home of the brave. She said there is a notion that police here are going to be different. Now, she's from the Black Alliance for Just Immigration. They say is that about 4.6 million, or 1 in 10 black people living in America, are immigrants, and that number is projected to double by 2060. It said, according to a January report from the Pew Research Center, it said the black immigrant population is racially and ethnically diverse. It said, but in the last decade, Africans have become one of the fastest growing segments through refugee admissions and diversity lottery programs. They said, although refugee admissions hit a record low in 2021, over the past 2 fiscal years, people from the Congo became the largest group of refugees to settle in Michigan. And Grand Rapids is home of the largest Congolese refugee population in the state, thanks to employment opportunities as well as family and social connections like churches. Here we go, said Chris Kavanaugh. Okay, so they say that Samaritans, they say, helps refugees meet many of their immediate needs and offer a cultural orientation of what it means to live life in America, he said, but they didn't talk much about racial implications of being black in America until George Floyd's murder sparked a nationwide racial justice protest movement in 2020. Now they say in the wake of Lyoya's death, they said that Samaritans is hoping to support refugee communities by providing resources to help them access services in their native language during the interactions with law enforcement. Now, they said certainly the Congolese community is feeling some fear, kind of scared of what happened. And he said, rightfully so. He said those maybe who have much less English skills, he said, are just more apprehensive by getting pulled over or how they respond in the situation. Now, once again, you should have got with black Americans. But some of you, not all, but some of you come over here and some of you say that I'm different. I'm better than the black Americans. I work hard. How come I work hard and they not working hard? Well, working hard to still get a bullet in the back of your head. All that hard work you're doing. Just letting you know. See, in America, it doesn't matter where you come from. Okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what language you speak. If you come into this country, they label you as black. You just a black person that speak a different language. And actually, they may be more apprehensive around you because you speak a different language because they don't know what you're saying. So you ought to really know how the white supremacists feel about that. When you speaking a different language around them, oh boy, they get on high alert with that. Because in their mind, they thinking you plotting to attack them. That's how they think. They do that to every group. They do it with the Hispanics. They do it with different Asian groups. They get mad when somebody speaks a different language around them. And you a Negro speaking a different language around them? That's even worse. Now, they say many black immigrants and refugees are surprised to say when they encounter violence from both police and immigration officials. Say we have to deal with violence that police inflict on us because we're black. And say then additional violence is often inflicted on us by ICE and the immigration enforcement system because our migrant status. Say, but black migrants have been long subjected to racism and brutality that disproportionately affects black Americans. They're black. Why do you think they're going to have an escape? See, I see the finesse here. Somebody told them that they were different than us and that we are the ones that's going to be targeted and you don't have nothing to worry about. You can just live in your immigrant communities. You're good, and you're not in no gang. You're not gang banging. You're not out here doing this and that and the third. So, hey, you're the preferred blacks. And what happened with Brother Patrick here, the preferred blacks mindset has to go away. Now, they said protests broke out. We talking about the history here. Several weeks in 1999, African Guinean immigrant Amadou Diallo, which I do remember that, was killed by 4 white police officers in New York City who said they thought his wallet was a gun. All 4 officers were acquitted of second-degree murder charge that same year. It said Patrick Dorismond, the 26-year-old Haitian American, was killed by police, sparking another wave of protests in New York. In 2016, prosecutors declined to charge a suburban San Diego police officer for fatally shooting 38-year-old Alfred Olongo. It said who arrived in the United States as a refugee from Uganda in 1991. Then Amber Geiger, we know about that, ended up killing both of John, and he's from St. Lucia. Now, it said black immigrants are also disproportionately detained and deported by ICE. It's embedded in the immigration laws. It said, are these anti-black aspects beginning with the visa system? He said, they face the double-barreled racism when it comes to law enforcement. They say although they're only 7% of the non-citizen population, they say black immigrants make up 20% of those who deported on criminal grounds, according to a 2018 report from the Black Alliance of Just Immigration. They say even minor offenses can trigger deportation proceedings, which can common interactions with police like traffic stops more tense. It said black drivers in Michigan are more likely to be pulled over, searched, and arrested by troopers. A study in 2020 found. Okay, so continuing. Now it said the way most black immigrants end up getting deported is through contact with the police. It said there is, an awareness that can happen, and there's a lot of anxiety around any type of police contact. Well, most black people don't want to have any kind of police contact, just period. But you would have been instructed on that if you would have came holler at the black, community when you got here. Now it said Hing, he's a lawyer. His name is Bill Hing. He's an Asian person. He said he's the founder of Immigrant Legal Resource, said more immigration advocacy organizations that began paying attention to this issue in the wake of Floyd's death. Their personal experience of racism, high profile cases like Lyoya's have also started to shift the way black migrants view themselves. Now this is very interesting here, what I'm about to read. He said they may start out seeing themselves as different from black Americans. And that's what actually prompted me to do this particular podcast. This last part I'm reading to you. They may start out seeing themselves as different from black Americans. Now, we have been calling this out, many of us, when they're having these, saying different names about us, calling us Akata and, calling us Abid and Jarir and all these different names that they call black Americans, right? And rightfully so. But we tried to tell them. We've been saying, hey, you're not different, bro. I don't care what religion you worship. I don't care what language you speak. Well, I speak 7 languages. Great. But as long as you got that black skin in America, you one of us. No, I'm not. I'm not black American. I'm Somali. I'm Nigerian. I'm not black. I'm this. Okay. You ain't black. You OJ. And see, what's happening is I ain't black. I'm OJ. You find out the hard way. That's why Jay-Z said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Say, okay, and that's what's happening to you. Okay, it's what's happening to you. Okay means you're going to find out the hard way. He said, but now let's continue. So he said they may start off seeing themselves as different black Americans, but realize that the mainstream, including the police, treat them like any other black person. Once again, we tried to say this. Now, black immigrants, it's not for you to argue. It's not. This is not a conversation about arguing. See, what this is what we wanted, and this is what our ancestors actually thought about you. Okay, what we really wanted from you was to all these black immigrants in this country should be on code with us, right? We should be all one cohesive group. We should all work together. We should all shop together. We should all educate each other. We should all protect each other, keep each other safe. And if we're going to be here, we need to work as one cohesive group. But y'all didn't want that. We talking about a lot of black immigrants. A lot of y'all didn't want that, especially those who just came here. Now, your children who's lived in this system a little bit longer and they have maybe some more cohesion with black Americans, they get it. I know a lot of the first generations are starting to get it a little more, because they got to go to school and see the system for really how it is. But y'all chose not to want to work with us. And now a lot of you crying foul and saying, well, why y'all kind of, separating yourselves, and why you saying this and why y'all doing that? And you know what I'm saying? And it had to be done because you ever heard a thing called you must show yourself friendly to get friends? Black Americans, even way back the time of Dr. King, when Africans would come here, they would come to the black communities. Our ancestors would help them, make sure they're good. And that's the way we should supposed to do. But coming in here talking about I'm going to separate, I'm going to get away. How you going to live in a whole different country and say, oh, I'm only going to go find some Congolese people and go live around them? Like I said before, I would never go to an African country and say, okay, I'm living here now. Let me only go find the Black Americans, and I'll only go live around Black Americans. And I know nothing about the country because I insulate myself just around Black Americans who come from the same place I come from. And if you're insulating yourself just around Black Americans, that means I'm not learning nothing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. So what y'all doing, what y'all have done is put yourself in a position where you could be hurt, harmed, or killed. Because see, what happened is this. I was reading that in a lot of African countries, what Patrick done is normal. You can get out the car and go talk to the police in their countries. It's no issue, it's no problem to find out what's going on. If they would have went and got some instructions from Black Americans, we would have told you, nah, don't do that. Not here. You got to sit in that car, keep your hands on that steering wheel, and don't you move. Don't you move. Don't you move. Keep your hands on that steering wheel where they can see it. Because they're looking for a reason to try to kill you in this country. But you didn't get that instruction. We would have gave you the instruction of how, even you talking about ICE and all that. We would have gave you the instruction about that. That's just the police. We would have gave you the instruction and told you how these folks move, how you got to move in this country. Patrick, if you think about it, Patrick should not have been killed like that. It was a simple traffic stop, right? And no, he should have been arrested. If anything, he should have been arrested, right? But him getting out that car, thinking that he was in the Congo, and thinking he had a language issue, that too. That's why you need to come talk to Black Americans. That's why you need to befriend Black Americans. What you need to do, and this is what you need to do. You need to be inviting Black Americans to your communities and holding meetings, classes, etc., how to navigate America as a Black person. Yes, you from the Congo. Yes, you from Somalia. Yes, you from Nigeria, whatever. But when you come here, you're not in your home country, so you need to move accordingly. There's no way I'm gonna go in some country and not get some friends to tell me, hey, do this or don't do that. I don't want to be caught up like that. But there's no reason for Black immigrants to be scared about anything. There's no reason to be scared. The fact is, you got to accept that you Black here. Yes, I know you from whatever country you from, but when you here, you Black. And you need to get on code with Black Americans. Get on code with us. Tell your mama and your daddy, look, all that you talking about, that we better than them. Look, mama, if we were better than them, why did we come over here if we better than them? I don't know where you get that from, but we the one come over to this country. So how are we talking about we better than them? How are we better? We come over here talking about we want a better life. They didn't go to our country talking about that they want a better life. The ones that do go to our country, they go by choice. They say now one of them leave America and say I'm going for a better life. Because I know good and well when I go to the African continent, I'm not going for a quote unquote, oh, I need to leave America for a better life. I'm doing just fine in America. Just fine. I just don't like what I'm seeing in America. I don't like the how immoral it is. I don't like how they do the food, what they put in the air, the education, the agenda, all that kind of thing that has nothing to do with my people. My people don't put any of that. They don't put the chemicals in the food. They don't put the chemicals in the air. They don't put the chemicals in the water that's harming people. They're not adding. I mean, you know what I'm saying? My people aren't in control or doing anything. They're not pushing no agenda. They're not controlling the education. My people not doing any of that to hurt America. That's them folks. That's what they're doing. So when I'm talking about having peace, it's because I'm talking about them folks, not my people. My people are fine. If we had our little on, the thing is, we can't even get little places where we can have some peace because they're going to come and try to infiltrate that. You cannot live in a land of white supremacists and expect some sort of peace. It's just not going to happen. because they're not peaceful people. If they would have stayed in Malawi, they'd have been fine. No police would have did that to them in Malawi. But when you come over here to America, and let me tell you something. You say, oh, these other immigrants south of the U.S. border, they treat them different. Yes, they discriminate on some of them too. Let me make sure I say that they do some discrimination. Actually, I just read a interesting article that talk about, they say when there's more Hispanic immigration into the United States, white folks prefer to deal with black Americans over them. And I know why. At least in that instances too, because it's the language thing. I keep telling y'all, white supremacists get real nervous about anybody speaking a different language around them. They always act that way. They get hella on cold with that, and they say, listen, these black Americans, shoot, they speak our language. We know what they saying, but them others, no. They could be plotting on us. In their mind, they think everybody plotting on them. And maybe some of them could plot on them. Who knows? If you don't speak the language, right? But you are black. You are 100% black. You're going to be treated as black. And just get used to that. Get used to that. Throw away that old mindset, I'm different. Throw away that dumb mindset that some people have that I'm better. No, you're not better than nobody. Let me tell you something. If you're breathing air and you're sitting on the toilet to take a poop, and either you're standing as a man or sitting as a woman to take a pee, that means we all equal. We all equal. Ain't nobody no different than anybody. That's what make everybody equal right there. Where you come from, how much money you got don't mean crap, because anything can be taken away from you. But everybody needs to breathe. Everybody needs to use the bathroom. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs a place to stay. All that makes us equal. I'm not better than no other black person in the world. And they not better than me. We all equal. If we understand that we all equal and on the same team and try to work together, that would be better. But unfortunately, got some of them that's still on that. Well, I'm different. I'm not like y'all. Okay. Well, you'll find out the hard way. The race soldiers are always going to give you a good lesson. So my advice to black immigrants, befriend black Americans, ask many questions, learn. Matter of fact, marry black Americans. That would be better for the relationships, actually. Marry black Americans. That way it could be, the culture, both cultures could be put together, things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to get rid of a lot of things is marry each other, because, you talking about you different, but them black Americans, some of them say, but then you go marry Zaddy. So Zaddy is not your people at all. It's okay to marry a Zaddy, but not a black American? What kind of crap is that? But that's that old, raccoon gene that some of you have, or at least, on that. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the podcast. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate all your support to the podcast that you have been doing. Making sure, you subscribe is very important, and share this with your friends and family. We having these real conversations over here on the podcast. It's very important to us as black people. This podcast was created because of the desire of what people, wanted from me. And so this is why we do have the podcast. We would have never probably even put this podcast on YouTube. It would have been for the people. So we greatly appreciate you encouraging us to do so. Make sure you click that like button. That's very, very important. And also, if you enjoy the program, make sure you leave a love offering. That'd be greatly appreciated. We got Cash App. You can do super chat. If you super chatted this time around, we greatly appreciate it. After the program is over, if you want to do a super thanks or Cash App after the program, greatly appreciate that as well. So once again, we appreciate you coming over. And you had a lot of choices you could have made, but you chose us, and we happy about that. And see you next time.